Yes, I absolutely do. There's so much energy and enthusiasm amongst all the women I've met here. And they're looking for tools to help them really achieve their potential. And that's exactly what mentoring is. It's a tool. And there are so many women, successful women, who are willing to mentor that next generation of women leaders. I fully believe we all have informal mentors. Oftentimes we don't even realize it. And so I think if you ask anyone who is in a professional capacity and even skilled trades, if you ask them, who did you look to for advice? Who did you look to for support? Whose performance or the way they did their job, who did you try to emulate in your own work? Those are mentors. And that's informal because they're not maybe intentionally mentoring us, but they, a mentor is someone who influences you, right? And so those to me are all mentors. Sometimes our mentors don't even know they are our mentors because we're looking to them, we're observing them, we're emulating them. But we also can ask people informally to mentor us. Even as we all have mentors, we are mentoring others. There are people in our organizations, younger people who are less senior, who are watching what we do. And we are, whether we know it or not, we're serving as their mentors. A successful woman is confident. A successful woman is proud of her accomplishments because she's worked very hard to achieve those. A successful woman recognizes that she hasn't reached her point of success alone. And so she is willing to give credit to those who helped along the way. A successful woman is, we used a term in our mentoring training about paying it forward. So a successful woman recognizes that others have had a hand in her success. And so she is willing to pay it forward by turning around and helping other women and men, not just women. So a successful woman, it's not about appearance. To me, that success, that sense of success comes from within, and that's what contributes to that sense of self-confidence, that sense of wanting to help others, a sense of that we all continue to learn through life. I mean, just because you've achieved a certain position or a certain academic degree doesn't mean you're finished learning. We're all constantly learning, and I think a successful woman understands that. So many models of successful women. I think that sense of success, for the most part, comes from within. Well, it wasn't my idea to open the Women's Center, but I did have a little bit unusual career path in my setting. I did not start out intending to have a career working to support women and women's issues. I do have an undergraduate degree in business, and my first years out of university, I worked in municipal government and I worked for nonprofit. And once I had been out of my undergraduate degree for 10 or 11 years, and in the meantime I had married and started a family. I had 2 young sons. I realized that in order to advance professionally, I needed a master's degree. And at that point, I thought I wanted to be a city manager. So I went back to graduate school. And so when I was in graduate school, I took a job at my university. And primarily, there's actually a mentoring connection to that. I didn't intend, and this is the university where I still work, I didn't intend to work for the university. That was not my goal. I was going to get my graduate degree and go out and seek a city manager's position. But I ended up working for the president of the university primarily because I wanted him basically to be a mentor to me. During those 5 years that I worked with him, he got me involved in women's issues. on the campus. So I was somewhat his representative. Before he retired, then he committed to opening a women's center. That was somewhat of a gift that he left for the university. And at that point, I had a career decision to make, that I was going to leave the university and go pursue my city manager goal, I could stay at the university, and I could have stayed in my current position there under the new president, or I had an opportunity to become the founding director of our Women's Center when it first opened. I have often said, particularly when I'm talking to students at my university, I say, before I made that decision, if someone had said to me, back when I started my graduate program, oh, you're not going to be a city manager, you're going to direct a women's center, I couldn't have even comprehended that. That was nowhere in my plan. And so what I often say to students who are contemplating their future and they're trying to decide what they want to do with their life, I say it's good to have a plan. But don't get so focused on your plan that you miss opportunities that might come along that you don't even anticipate. To me, success is not something that you measure in dollars and cents. So it's not financial success. It is not. It's not having a big house or a fancy car or a title. To me, success is just being happy in what you do, and in your place in the world. So it partly, I think, is where I am in my life right now. This is a great time of my life. I love my job. I have a wonderful family. I have a comfortable life. I'm not wealthy by any means. I'm by U.S. standards, very middle class. I define myself as successful. Now, my definition of success and Oprah Winfrey's definition of success are very different. But, it's like many things. I think it's something that you self-define, and my definition may not be your definition or someone else. It's so I guess what matters to me is that I consider myself successful, but that's because of the way I define it. And if I were to measure it in more material things, maybe I'm not so successful. But I don't really care about those things. I have my husband, Christopher, or Chris, and we've been together for a long time. We've been married 28 years. Got married in 1985. A long time. And we have two sons, two young adult sons. We have one son who's 24 and just finishing up his final year in law school. And our younger son is 21, and he is a student at my university in his last year there, and he's applying for medical school, so he wants to be a doctor. And that's my immediate family. I come from a very large family. I have 6 brothers and sisters. My husband has 7 brothers and sisters, so our extended families are very large. But where we're from, that's very common. And so we live in a suburban community near Dayton, Ohio, which is probably best known for Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. There's a very large U.S. Air Force Base there, and the U.S. Air Force Museum. So many people who come to the United States who have an interest in aircraft and thing will come to Dayton, Ohio to see that museum. This is my first trip, not only to Moldova, but to Eastern Europe. And in the United States, if you've never been here, we think we know what it's like. And I will admit, when I came into the city, I wasn't real surprised. I was expecting the large apartment blocks, and I had done enough reading, and I knew enough about the economy of Moldova. I know that this very difficult economically here. So in many ways, the physical city of Chisinau was about what I had expected, although larger than I was envisioning. I don't know why. The people are another matter entirely. First of all, I was surprised how many people, even if they didn't speak English, understood it enough. It really has been no problem communicating. which was a pleasant surprise because I don't speak a speck of Romanian. So that would have been a challenge. But the people have been just absolutely unfailingly warm and welcoming and trying to be helpful. And the women I have met in my time here are amazing, amazing. I think U.S. women, we've in many ways gotten complacent because there have been a lot of gains for women in the United States. There are still issues and we still have a ways to go. And I think we somewhat forget the problems that still exist. Moldovan women have a clear sense, and that is very young women and mature, seasoned professional women. They all understand both the challenges and the opportunities, and they all want to find a way, I think, not just to make it better for themselves, but there is this sense of common purpose around making it better for all Moldovan women. And I don't know that we have that unity of purpose among American women.